Hello, it's Karen from Waney Planches de Bois. Welcome to the dining room, and have a look at our most recent 3 pieces of oak. Down here, this is a cheese board. It's a rip cut piece of oak. It's dressed at the moment with nibbles bowls and a little tiny tea light. Isn't it pretty? Come closer and have a little look. I'm just going to undress it for you so that you can see the grain. Right, now look. I'm just going to stroke it for you. It's so smooth. We call it a silk feel finish because it's one of the things that people have noticed most intriguingly about our pieces, the way that they've been sanded very, very smooth. Have a look at the grain. The bark, called the sapwood, around the outside, it is the most striking colour. It contrasts beautifully with this lovely creamy centre. Look at the lovely burring. They are intriguing, tiny little circles. They look just like peacock eyes. The eyes on a peacock's tail, I mean. Isn't it pretty? Can you see they look like little cat's paws, and they're little pinpricks. All of the little dark bits are little cuts and natural slashes that are in the wood. They've all been cleaned, and it is food safe and ready for you to use. You can put cheeses, charcuterie, any foodstuff directly onto it, but it does also look extraordinarily beautiful with little pots of, well, I've got nuts here, look, and I've got some broad beans, those lovely crunchy broad beans, and a little tea light. Looks extraordinarily lovely. Now come over to the next one, which is a much bigger statement piece. Doesn't it look fantastic dressed like this? I've been a bit more generous this time. I know I might have hidden quite a lot of it, and I'm going to reveal it all to you now. Once again, it's dressed with candles, crisps, olives, some more of those lovely crunchy broad beans and a tea light. But let me just undress it for you. I'm going to just move things to one side. There I go, the crisps. This is a candle in a little wooden dish that also looks beautiful. I hope you can see the exciting contours and colours revealing themselves as I just reach over now. Now come closer and have a look. Isn't this intriguing? This lovely sort of pronged effect here. There's a lot of work that my husband's done. He has to make a decision about which bits of the wood he can keep and save and which bits he has to remove. We remove what we have to, but we want to retain as much of the original raw and sort of elemental beauty that we can. We need it to be safe for you to put food onto, but we also need to stabilise it. It has the same beautiful finish. You can see different changes in the changes in colour. There's this heartwood which is dark, and that contrasts very much with the first piece that I showed you, where the heartwood was pale. With this stunning big piece, we have the juxtaposition between heartwood here that's pale, that's dark, and this outside edge which is pale. It's an extraordinarily beautiful piece, and it would look lovely with cheeses. Imagine a Stilton and grapes on here. You would have to be careful. There are some deep fissures, and they do add to the beauty and charm. But I think it also looks absolutely stunning when it's been dressed as a table for you to put your crisps and nuts. Let me just redress it for you. In fact, let me just do something different. Keep your eyes on that piece of wood, because I'm just going to put one of my favourite things on it, which is a beautiful bottle of wine in a silver coaster, back with a lovely candle and the olives. Now that, to me, is an extraordinarily beautiful, let me put some sticks there because that's the best way to serve olives. That, I think, is quite a beautiful way to use this piece of wood. Let me just draw your attention once again to the way that wood behaves when we buy it. I will in a minute be showing you some raw wood, some wood in the slice which is untouched by us. But let me just show you the third piece. These are all oak, they're rip cut oak. Let me just show you a piece that has intrigued us. At the moment it's got this lovely bunch of very, very spring-like daffodils on it. Let me just move those to one side. Come and have a look at this piece, because it has, as I say, intrigued us. When we bring the wood in, let me just move my piece of Moorcroft. When we bring the wood in, we're bringing it into changes of temperature. This is a cheese board. It has the most beautiful finish, silky smooth, but I don't know if you can see it, it has a dished profile. And intriguingly to us, when you run your hands down the cut edge, which was very, very smooth when we bought it, it now is technically called bobbly. Not bobbly like a sweater. It has ridges and furrows. It's intriguing. That tells us that there was a lot of moisture in this wood, and as it's changed, as it's dried out, as it's gone from room to room, as we've tempered it, it has changed. It has opened up some splits, and we don't know what this will do to it. It will keep changing. It would look wonderful dressed as a cheese board. It's not absolutely flat on the top, but let me just show you the underside, because my husband Nick, who has worked on this to create that beautiful finish and to stabilise it as a piece, he has put feet on it to make sure that it doesn't rock. He always uses 3 feet. Those 3 feet are often of different heights in order to keep the piece balanced, and he will check these pieces to make sure that he doesn't need to change the feet to stabilise it. So let me pop it back down again. Let's just see how it looks when it's got a candle on it. Let's try, I'm just going to borrow the candle from the middle board. I'm just going to pop that on it, and I think you'll agree that is an absolutely beautiful table centre when it's off duty and not showing off your cheeses and grapes and nibbles to your guests. And now let me show you how we start the process of these boards. Somewhere down here I've got a very heavy piece of wood. Let me lift it up. It's quite heavy. It's another piece of oak. Can you see how dull, and you can't see how rough it is, but take it from me, that's a very rough piece of wood. One of the decisions that my husband has to make when he's working on this piece is how much he can salvage at the outside that makes it intriguing. I call it prickle edged. I've used that word in some of my descriptions. That lovely prickle edge is what happens when some of the rough timber is removed and you get all those sort of projections that the tree has produced in order to keep hold of its bark, which is a protection layer. He has to make that decision about what he has to remove and what he can keep. This is from the same piece as the piece on the end that we looked at that was rocking. This piece, this rough piece will look like this piece when it's been worked on. What will happen is this will be brushed and sanded, and then sanded again, and then another sanding. That's hours of work, and what Nick will do is check for any loose bits. Let's have a look on the other side. Let's just have a look. He has to decide which way up it needs to go. He has to check for any irregularities, any inclusions that will fall out. We want to make sure that when you buy a piece from us, it's going to be as intact for as long as it possibly can. Let me just turn it back because it's jolly heavy. But I think you'll agree that when we buy our pieces, they feel wet, they feel cold, and they feel rough. I suppose you might even call them dirty. I certainly feel grubby when I've been to the woodyard. And the difference, let me just wipe my hands on the seat of my trousers. Okay, anyway, this is a very smooth piece, this is very rough, and I just wanted you to see the contrast. Thank you for watching, and I really look forward to talking to you again. Bye bye.